TSO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. All right, guys. So, two viewers made very good points with the champion system and the rounded differences. And of course, I've known about it, but it's kind of frustrating where to put your last couple of points, and they made such validation. I want to thank them because a lot of people aren't even aware of it, and it really becomes a struggle where to place those last points in your CP system, because what most people aren't aware of, or even if you are aware of it, is the rounded differences for the CP points. So basically, I'm going to show you guys today how it works and basically what you lose and the CP points by a couple points, because one viewer just definitely made such a good analogy with the CP system with that. Like, what do we lose? What do we gain? How do we place those points? It can be so frustrating. It really can be. So today I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go over a couple of things here. So I'm going to check my champion system here real quick, make sure I have enough points. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take this down a little bit more, because what I want to do here, I'm going to drop this down to 20, slightly under 20. Okay, leaving 11 points. Now, I want you guys to see that and keep that in mind really quick here. And I'm going to use the tooltip to help guide me on this journey, to give you guys the visual indication of what's occurring, because it's the best way to explain it. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Mage's Wrath here. And as you guys can see, it deals 3,388 damage, right? Now, to increase this, we can put into the Master of Arms, right? So when we go into the champion points, right, and we go up, I can put the 1 point, allocate it, back out, go back into the tooltip, and it's increased. So instead of 3,338, now we're doing 3,413. So it gets rounded to the whole, right? So that's where it's at. So even though our CP system is over, that extra point or that extra percentage, so we're getting 0.18 increase, we're never going to see an increased difference over the whole. So even if I put this up to 21.55, right, and I go back into the CP, back into the skill, it doesn't increase the damage. So it's now 2 points wasted, right? So I've wasted 2 points putting into it because it hasn't been rounded up. Even if I take it up 1 more point, right? Well, let's go to 91. I'm not going to get that increase. Okay? And then now, but if I take it up 1 further point to 2208, now we get the increase from 13 to 37. So you guys see the visual of how that is. And then you would think it would be rounded by quarters or halves and a few extra points, but unfortunately it's not. So the question now becomes, how do you minimize your loss? In certain scenarios, it's easier said than done, because if I have 4 points extra, it becomes a question: how do I want to reduce, or how do I want to gain in the CP system? This is where it becomes very frustrating, even for vets, on how to get the most out of your CP points, and without suffering too much of a loss. And sometimes, I just kind of throw it in there and just like, okay, I have 3 or 4 points left over, I'll just stick it here. Okay, I'm guilty of that. But the best way for offensive, so say if I go ahead and I take this up to, see, I'm not going to gain anything from that. Those 5 points aren't going to mean nothing. But over here in spell erosion, I can always increase the spell erosion up and that's going to make up a difference for penetration. So for offensive capabilities, we have somewhere to place the points. We can put those in our penetration. Right? Easy way to make it up. So we can put this at 10-15, keep it minimal. 15-10, keep it minimal, down to the lowest number, to the lowest hole. Same thing with Master of Arms, and then we can put those differences in. But keep it as minimal as possible. But for offensive, you can put into your penetrating value. So for spell damage, you could go into spell erosion, put a couple extra points, and try to gain more. Same thing with piercing. You got some extra points. It's routed to the hole. You can put those extra points into piercing, and you'll gain at least a little bit of something from it. Well, now we have a further problem in our resistance trees. Because here it is, I keep this at 14, right? It's a whatever, but now I got this at 2.45. So, but if I drown that down, now I'm under, right? Now I'm completely under that level. So let's say if I had this at 12, slightly over 13, for example. I dropped both these down to 13, right? Take it down even one more, because I can get that 1301, and I can jack this up now. I have one extra point that's never going to gain me anything. You see what I'm saying? So where do I want to take the loss at? Do I want to take the loss point into a thick skin? Do I want to take the loss point into elemental defender? Do I want to take the loss point? Well, I could put it in here and that would gain me. But if there's a point that you're evened out as much as you can be, you're going to take the loss somewhere, somehow. And those extra points, trying to place them, becomes questionable. So you want to try to minimize the loss amount, but keeping in mind that you might lose 1, 2, or possibly up to 3 to 4 points in the rounded differences. So, you want to try to get up to the next whole number without losing your points. Or you could even go this route. So let's say I'm at barely over 4%. I have 4 points. I can put 2 points to gain the 1%, right, over here at Bastion, if I'm going to use the shield, if I'm going to. Or I could actually come over and I could put into lighter armor focus, and that is where you're going to put the differences of your point value loss, because this is always going to apply. So even if you're going to lose 2 or 3 points, your better option is to maybe pick up maybe a little bit of extra defense and something that you don't lose. It's always going to add that difference. So light armor, for example, would be a positive point placement without a loss. Same thing with spell resistance, positive point without a loss. Same thing with medium armor, positive points allocated without a loss. So you can do that, or you can suck up the loss. There's, like I said, margin for error, because the 105 isn't going to make too much of a difference, but it's not a loss point. Okay, so that becomes, how you can save yourself in that tree. So we got penetration, and then we have resistance in your light armor, medium, or heavy in the warrior. Over here, it's kind of almost the same kind of effect. Where do I pick up the points for the loss? And there really is nothing specific in here, because it's all percentage based on this. There's no even numbers like penetration value or resistance. But in here, there's bigger caps, like in befoul or block reduction. So you can go up to 25% on those values, so you can round it up easier at a lower gauge, so you can make up that difference. But you're going to lose a couple points, but you don't want to spend too many points in something that you're not going to use frequently when you're talking about PvE. PvP aspect, it's a whole different ball game. So once again, the best way to do it is keep losing to the third rather than the half. Or if you're going to lose, at least know that, you know, with any DLC, if we're getting another champion point increase or boost up, that you have the point difference, you're going to spend 1 or 2 more points and cap up. Whether or not you want to lose those points becomes the question, but it's it rounds down and not up ever. And once again, I want to thank my viewers, you know, for definitely, even if, like I said, even if you know it, you know, what can you do? You know, are you going to accept the loss, or are you going to just point place it somewhere else? So, but I would definitely want to thank my viewers for, you know, making me want to do this video, to kind of, you know, go over it, because CP is definitely an important thing, because we've ignored diminishing returns. I don't want to be one of these players that ignores something like this and not giving it to the players who are unaware of it. So, I mean, it becomes a point, it becomes kind of interesting, to say the least, when you're debating on those extra point values. You know, I'm going to suck up the loss, or am I just going to stick it somewhere and, you know, suck it up? But yeah, just wanted to do this video, guys. I hope everybody's having a great 4th of July. If you do have any questions or comments, please post below. I want to thank everybody for watching once again, and as always, have a nice day.